Welcome to the Q1 Buck Poll. I'm Tim Hart with Mike Big Buck Hoffner, where the Bucks are coming in and people are getting registered in the contest. And again, you can go to q1buckpoll.com and see where the closest registration location is to you, or you can download the form. We've made it real easy this year.
Yeah, it's simple, Tim, and like I said, even before going to those locations, even within the school system, we got our FFA kids involved in doing registration of kids' deer that go to school. So
quick and simple is how we score them. This week on the Q1 Buck Poll, we've got new bucks, as we're talking about. We also are going to talk about the DNR check station. We're going to talk with Brent Rudolph, and he's going to explain what does the DNR do with that information.
Well, I think, information is powerful stuff is what they do. And that's the bottom line, is it's learning so that we can get better, and it's all about studying the herd.
A lot of people are going to take to the tree stands here coming up. We've got CO Jeremy Payne with us from the DNR. He's going to give you little tips and techniques and just some things to think about before you get up and sit in that tree stand.
Hey, we're speaking from experience. We'll tell the story when we get there, Tim. We've been there, done that.
Exactly right. We've got our sponsor spotlight with Trophy Class Real Estate, Dan Huffman, and then Tony the Pratt's going to wind it all up. He's going to talk about shooting does out of a buck stand.
I'll tell you what, he's meticulous with what he does, but you can't argue with his success.
We're going to talk more about the prizes when we come back. You're watching the Q1 Buck Poll.
Firekeepers Casino and Hotel present the Q1 Buck Poll.
It's time for Bucks here on the Q1 Buck Poll, and nobody does it better than Mike Big Buck Hoffner.
All right, let's roll away, Tim. Let's start out with Andy Swafford from Southwest Mid-Michigan with a 7-pointer. The score was 38.5. Then we had Dwayne Beckman from Mid-Michigan with a 10-pointer. The score 39.5.
All right, Big Buck. Now we talk about information is power. And the DNR is trying to get information. And we talk about information as power. That's going to help them determine what can be done in the outdoors when it comes to the buck-to-doe ratio, when it comes to the habitat. And so we encourage everybody to find a deer check station this year and take your deer and get it checked out.
Yeah, I think it's an invaluable service that they provide for the state of Michigan. I know a lot of people do that, but you're right. It's all in the lessons and what we learn so that we can make this sport even better.
Deer check stations with Brent Rudolph from the DNR. In previous shows, we've talked about what happens at a DNR check station. Well, today we have Brent Rudolph with us. He heads up the deer and elk team for the DNR's Wildlife Division. And Brent, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot.
All right, so as we talk about the data that the DNR collects at these deer check stations, what are you doing with that data?
Well, we do a variety of things when a hunter comes to a check station. If a hunter has a buck, we're taking some measurements on their antlers. They've seen that. We get a diameter of at the base of the beam. We count the official number of antler points.
And you're slitting the mouth and checking the teeth.
Taking a look at the age, because from that perspective, when we look at yearling bucks, year-and-a-half-old bucks with their first set of antlers, how much they develop, anywhere from spikes to 8 points, sometimes occasionally even larger, is a good indication of condition of deer. And not so much that just 1 year to the next you can assess that, but you look at a lot of deer from the same area over time, it gives you an idea whether condition is improving or declining or staying the same. So that's a good source of information for us on the condition of deer. Of course, we do things like taking disease samples at some places to be able to monitor health in different kinds of ways as well. It's all an important part of the process we use to evaluate our deer herd over time.
Well, there's a lot of social issues that go along with this data, isn't there?
Yeah, it's also a good opportunity for people to just interact with our division staff. It's we have a limited number of people, limited number of offices, but come deer season, there's a lot of people out in the field. They're thinking about their deer hunting and other things, and they get a chance to come into a check station. It's almost like a mini open house each time you go in there, where our staff and hunters are able to get together and talk about what they're seeing, what's on their mind, what kind of issues they have that they'd like to see us be considering as we do our jobs each year.
So as hunters go out in the woods this year, really, it's a great opportunity to bring your deer to the check station because it also can help. You kind of determine, all right, so you're in this area, here's kind of what's going on in somebody's particular region then.
Exactly. I mean, we use a lot of that interaction, right out of the gate from the firearm season. We get a general sense of what the season seemed to go, to occur like, how many deer are people seeing, what's the harvest look like. But of course, longer term, we do an estimate through our harvest survey to get an official count of the number of deer taken, the number of hunters that went out, the number of days they invested, and so forth.
So a lot of great information, and then you get all this data. And now does that help you formulate, let's say, the deer plan for 2014 and so forth?
Well, it helps us to really kind of monitor, again, over time. We try and look at things at a little bit longer interval, and it gives us, again, that balance. We have to consider both the biological side, what the condition of deer is like, what the needs are for sustaining healthy populations, but the social side as well. Hunters have various preferences and things they'd like us to see considering in our management. We have an obligation to look at both of those things and our responsibility as an agency.
Well, and you talk about the social side of things. There's many ways to get you information now. I mean, I can email, I can take a picture of my buck, I can do a variety of things. I can text it to you right after I shoot it. So there's a lot of ways to get information to the DNR if for some reason you can't make it to a check station.
That's right. I mean, we've tried to find all different channels we can to reach out to hunters, and there's a lot of new methods we can use for that. But again, a traditional check station, or for Michigan, mail surveys, again, another important way that we get a lot of information from the hunting public, whether it's on opinions or participation rates and other things as well.
And I think something that goes along with this, and there's some hunters out there that are like, I just don't like going, I don't want to give all my data because what's the DNR going to do with my information? Are they going to sell it to marketing firms? I mean, I just don't want to give them all my info. I mean, can you do this? Do you sell information to marketing firms?
No,
what do you do?
It wouldn't, we wouldn't support doing that, and there's actually laws to prevent that from occurring. So we typically, when we're contacting folks, we're getting information again about did you hunt or not, did you take a deer or not, or we're doing an opinion survey. Obviously, we have information about who bought licenses, so we can figure out who might have hunted in a given season that we can contact. But that's all information used by us to try and be for the benefit of the hunters themselves, so we can have an understanding of what the issues are that they'd like to see us address, or what the basic hunting participation is like over time.
So it's really not, us against them type of thing. This is really kind of a collaborative effort by getting all that data, by finding out what's happening in certain areas. It really is vital to managing the wildlife in the state of Michigan.
That's right. We try and reinforce to hunters that just like we know hunters are the original conservationists, the money they spend on hunting licenses, the fees they pay add on to firearm and ammunition taxes, they pay for virtually all wildlife management that happens. They're also really important providing that information to us. So when you get a survey, hopefully you see that as a good opportunity for you to step up and provide the data that the agency depends on in order to manage resources for your benefit. We balance the biological needs of deer management along with the social issues of things that we need to stay on top of as well.
And it becomes more and more scientific, I think, every year because the more data you can get, the more that you can help manage everything that's going on.
That's right. I mean, there's a variety of the Fish and Wildlife Service does surveys annually. We do a number in our area, and obviously marketing groups or outdoor industries, they're the ones that they might be buying a mailing list from an outdoor retailer, something of that nature, but they're not getting the information from us. We do all of our own surveys in-house from anything you get with the DNR logo on top of it.
And if you take your deer to the check station, what happens? Oh, you get your patch, and that is very important to a lot of people that have hunted over the years. They like to have their patches from all the years.
Yeah, it's one of the unique things in Michigan that whenever we get together with other deer managers from the other state, they're always asking about, you guys still giving out the patch? And
right.
We're well known for that as being something kind of unique for our state.
Well, that's great. Hey, Brent, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Brent Rudolph, he is the deer and elk team leader for the Wildlife Division with the DNR. I'm Tim Hart, and you're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. Back here on the Q1 Buck Poll, and Mike, we try to get with the DNR and get all kinds of educational segments. And coming up, we're going to talk about, tree stand safety with Jeremy Payne. He's got some good tips and information. But before that, I was going to say nobody does it better than Big Bug Hoffner with the Bucks because our first round was a little tough. You have to watch the bloopers is what they're going to have to watch. But You got some bucks for us?
Oh, we got bucks. And we got more bucks. So let's roll with this. We got Randy Stevens from Mid-Michigan with an 11-pointer, nice score of 42 1/4. Andrew Knoll from Mid-Michigan with a 9-pointer, 45 1/4. And Scott Hilgendorf up in the thumb, 11-pointer, nice score of 51 3/4.
All right, let's talk tree stand safety with CO Jeremy Payne. Time now for our DNR update. Today I'm talking with Conservation Officer Jeremy Payne. Jeremy, welcome to the Buck Poll.
Thank you.
Today we're going to talk about tree stand safety, some of the do's and don'ts. And the first thing we want to ask is there are different types of stands. Let's just give a brief explanation of the types of stands that are available out there.
Okay, yeah, we have 4 different types of stands. The first stand I'll talk about is the fixed tree stand. That's the one that we're standing by right now. Fixes to the tree, have a ladder system to get up into the tree. Second type of tree stand is a ladder stand. It's basically the same type of a tree stand, but it actually has a ladder attached that comes down the front of the tree stand. That's very easy to get in and out of that particular tree stand. You have a tower tree stand. It's a tripod effect. It has a platform up top, and you would use that in an area of a field where there's not necessarily a tree that you can safely put up a tree stand. So you use a tripod in an area like that. And then you also have the climbing stand. We have a climbing stand down here. And essentially you hook the tree stand up to the bottom and you use it to climb up the tree, and when you're done hunting you climb down the tree and you're still in the stand the entire time. That's the climbing stand.
One of the biggest problems that we have in the hunting season is people falling out of tree stands, whether they're going up or down. Talk to me about some of the different safety tips.
Safety tips on a tree stand: every year before you even put your tree stand up, you want to check some things. You want to check and make sure the bolts and the nuts are all secure and tightened down. You want to check the tree stand, make sure there's no stress cracks or anything like that in there. And then you also want to check the straps, because the straps can go bad. You might want to replace the straps at some point in the tree stand's life. Other safety things was you want to be able to have some type of a fall arrest system. That's this vest that I'm wearing right now. There's a bunch of different ones on the market.
You know, a lot of people in the old days just had the strap going around, where this, you know, it's going around your legs,
Yep.
It's going around your upper body, and if for some reason that you do have an accident, it's going to be really a safer way to kind of, I don't want to say dangle, but
Yeah.
when you fall.
As you fall, you wouldn't have that strap necessarily around your waist. The strap would hold you up like this, and you have the straps going around your legs and around your chest here.
Okay. All right. As we talk about, you know, using tree stands, some of the big mistakes that hunters do, what are some of those?
They're not familiar with their product. They'll go out and they'll improperly install a tree stand up in a tree. They don't know. They haven't practiced with their product, their equipment that they have. They just go out and they improperly install it. They don't have the straps completely tightened down, or even the steps going up or the ladder going up. The straps aren't necessarily tight. Another thing is they're not wearing the fall arrest system again, and they're carrying their weapons up and down as they're climbing up the ladder, and that's a big no-no. That's why we have a haul line. Strap your either bow or your rifle to the haul line, get up in the tree stand, climb up in there, get yourself strapped in, make sure everything's safe, and then you can go for your weapon that you're using.
And obviously, unloaded gun as you're bringing it up.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That is one of the big keys right there.
Yep.
What about state land? Are there certain rules and restrictions that we should know about when putting a tree stand up on state land?
Yeah, on state land, you need to have your name and address on your tree stand. It's got to be, as a conservation officer, I'd have to be able to read it from standing at ground level. So if I look up, I want to be able to see your name and address on there. You can also do that with your ladders, tree steps too. You can put your name and address on there. Some people go to the point where they actually inscribe their driver's license number on there. Mm-hmm. And that, you know, you don't want to use those screw-in steps. Those are now illegal on state land. They have been for quite a long time, and those are some of the do's and don'ts.
Okay. On state land, can I screw something into the tree? How long can I leave my stand up? What are some of those rules?
Some of the tree stands that you have, they use a mechanism called a T-bolt.
Okay.
Have you seen those?
Yes, I have.
The T-bolt, and they'd actually go into the tree about this area right here, and you can use the T-bolt, but that's the only thing that you would be able to screw into a tree on state land.
Okay.
Is using the T-bolt. So.
And how long can I leave my fixed position stand up?
Well, you can start putting tree stands up on state land September 1st, and they have to be down January 1st of that hunting season.
Okay. One of the things too, when we talk about safety, let's take a look at what's in the backpack, because in this day and age of cell phones, probably one of your biggest things to take out there is a cell phone.
Right. You want to make sure you have your cell phone with you. Take that out there, put that in your bag.
Put it on vibrate.
Yep, put it on vibrate.
You don't want the big buck coming in, your cell phone goes
Right.
off.
Other people use GPS systems. Those are great, but GPS systems do fail, so have a compass and know how to use a compass, how to get in and out, where your tree stand's at. Another thing, you might want to have a light in case you do get lost or you need some light, and then fire starter, something in case you are out there at night and you do have to spend the night in the woods. You want to have some type of a shelter, and I have a shelter system in here, and I have a means to actually start a fire on state land in case I would have to stay on state land overnight.
And really, as we talk about hunting in a tree stand, it's really talking about being prepared and just having really all the bases covered.
Exactly.
Our Conservation Officer Jeremy Payne's been with us here from the DNR. I'm Tim Hart, and you're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. Are you looking for some hunting land or maybe something on the recreational side of things? Today in our sponsor spotlight, I've got Dan Hoffman with us. He's an associate broker with Trophy Class Real Estate. They're an official real estate brokerage firm for Cabela's Trophy Properties here in the state of Michigan. And Dan, what does that affiliation mean?
Well, we've been affiliated with Cabela's Trophy Properties for about 8 years now. And what we do is we're the premier brokerage. We have hunting land, waterfront, and farmlands, Michigan farmlands.
Now, are you talking about a few acres? Are you talking about thousands of acres? What do you guys have in stock?
We have anything from 2 acres up to 900 acres.
And I know that one of the featured properties we had was it hunting and blueberries? What is that?
That's it. Whitetails and blueberries is what we call it. It's out in Van Buren County, just south of Bangor. And it's a beautiful place. It's 60 acres. There's about 22 acres of blueberries. The rest is woods. And whitetails love blueberries.
Oh, yes, they do. So there's some great hunting land for you. Now, you also have one, you're talking about 900 acres. It's got all kinds of amenities on there.
Further up north, it's whitetail and elk on the property. It's fenced in, but it's about 893 acres.
All right, talking with Dan Hoffman here with Trophy Class Real Estate. And Dan, one of the things that you pride yourself on and your whole staff prides herself on is great service and getting back to the customers.
Yeah, we have outdoor enthusiasts that are salespeople and brokers, and they really know their area. They know their counties, they know the townships, they know the properties. They're accurate with their answers. They're very good at what they do.
So if somebody said to Dan Hoffman, who is a hunter and loves to be out there in the woods, hey, I'm looking for some hunting land, you can describe and take me through and then find a piece of property for me.
We'll go find the property, we'll learn about it, look at the aerial maps, we'll go walk the property, find the corner posts, find the area, and we can make a buying decision from there.
All right, and if somebody is looking to sell their property, you guys can help them get in on the market with all kinds of marketing that goes with selling a piece of property.
Unbelievable marketing that we have through Cabela's Trophy Properties and Trophy Class Real Estate. The web, unbelievable.
All right,
Yeah.
and right here on the Q1 Buck Poll. Dan, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, Dan Hoffman, associate broker with Trophy Class Real Estate. Again, they're the official brokerage firm for Cabela's Trophy Properties here in Michigan. You're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. You know, Mike, it's always great to hear from our sponsors and learn about their businesses, the ones that support the outdoors. And today it was Dan Hoffman from Trophy Class Real Estate. They've got some great properties. They're associated with Cabela's properties, and it's just fun to hear about these businesses.
Yeah, I'll tell you, they've made our show. I mean, without these guys, we don't get to do what we do, and that's enjoy hunting. So we want to thank all of you sponsors for all the support that you give us here at Q1.
Let's talk about bucks right now with Big Buck Hoffman.
Okay, Tim, let's start out with David Richards from South Central Michigan with an 11-pointer, score of 48. Alfredo Cardenas-Padino from South Central Michigan, nice 13-pointer, the score 47 1/4. Tim Dunham from Southwest Mid-Michigan region with an 8-pointer, the score of 49. And finally, let's wrap it up with Caleb Allen's 9-pointer from South Mid-Michigan, 41.375, age 12. First deer, congratulations.
Congratulations is right. All right. Do you shoot a doe out of your buck stand? You know, some people go out there and they're just trying to, shoot whatever comes through. But do you do that or not?
The answer to the question is no.
No. And Tony LaPratte's going to explain why.
Today we're going to be talking about, are you shooting does out of your buck stands? Guys, a lot of people are sitting in a great stand, and most of your properties only have 1 or 2 great stand locations on them naturally set up for a pinch point. And you're sitting in one of them, and the buck ain't showing up this evening, it's starting to get dark, you got a bunch of nice does in front of your stand, and you think, I'll take a doe for some venison. Guys, you couldn't do anything more wrong if you tried. You shoot that doe, she runs off, what does all does have? Witnesses. The other does all seen what happened. So now, here's this great stand, and now when the deer come out the next evening and through the rest of the season, they all look up at your tree stand, and now a buck trailing them sees that, he backs right up, he ain't coming near that stand. You cannot shoot does. Now guys, you can shoot a doe anywhere. You can put a nice food plot up by the road, you can put some bait in places that it's legal and draw these deer to a nice safe area to shoot them. Never shoot does in your prime areas. You start looking at your stand locations, start rating them. At my place, we never shoot doe out of a stand that we put all that work into. What we do is throw up a pop-up blind or hunt them way up by the road. You start hunting this way, you'll find out you'll get more great stands on your property. And that's the tip of the week from Tony LaPratte.
Great information as always with Tony LaPratte. Brent Rudolph talking about the deer check stations with the DNR, Jeremy Payne. And you know, Mike, as safe as you can be when you're out in the woods, sometimes things happen that a little out of the ordinary, and we want you to be extra safe this year because we've had our deals over the year.
Yeah, we had one real scary moment a year ago, and I almost lost you, buddy. He was up to 25 feet in a tree stand, and the bottom platform falls out. I came to the rescue. Thank God I was there, but I'll tell you, that's why you wear safety harnesses, and you always try to do it right. You can't cheat your situation.
Right. Before we go, February the 7th, Firekeepers Casino and Hotel in Battle Creek. We're going to have our final Q1 Buckpole prize party where we're giving away the ATV, muzzleloaders, crossbows, you name it. Make sure you're there because it's going to be a great time. Get your hotel room now. February the 7th. It's a Friday night.
The grand finale. Can't wait.
All right. For Mike Big Buck Hoffner, I'm Tim Hart. Thanks for being with us this week on the Q1 Buckpole. Whenever you're out in the woods, be safe. I lied.
I don't.
I lied. Nobody does it better than Mike Big Buck Hoffner.
Got it. I can't get him out. That
Oh,
Southwest
my
Mid-Michigan
goodness.
gets me.
Oh my goodness.
Southwest Mid-Michigan.